Hey, it's a Friday, and that means it is an all-blue preview.
Yes,
so
it is.
Welcome. He's in blue. I'm not. Dave Baker.
You got a blue shirt.
Get this little Disco Inferno print.
It's not a puffy shirt, though.
No, not the Seinfeld puffy shirt. So
Love it.
Thanks for joining us on this Facebook Live Friday. Going to go get you into the weekend with UK basketball and some other news and notes that we may have. But tomorrow, UK and Alabama play. And I was in Rupp Arena the day a couple of weeks ago when Kentucky and Florida put on a heck of a show. 106-100. I'm not saying it's going to be that high scoring, but the last time these two played, 212 points were scored.
I mean, I think as great as the Florida game was, it could be downright pedestrian compared to this game. I mean, this is the modern day version of Kentucky and Arkansas back when the Razorbacks first came into the league, and you had Nolan Richardson against Rick Pitino.
That was fun.
You've got Alabama coming in. They have scored since the start of last season. They've scored 100 or more in 14 games. They lead the country in scoring offense, 89.5 per game. Since Nate Oates got to Tuscaloosa in 2019-2020, Alabama's won a league-best 65 games during SEC play, which ties them with Kentucky.
Well, there you have it. All the game notes. So long, everybody. Enjoy the ball game. It's going to be a good one, especially with Alabama coming off of an embarrassing loss at home where they only scored 64 against Ole Miss. And I think back to when UK played Ohio State. Ohio State gets mauled by Auburn, and they have a week to think about it, come back, and look what they did against Kentucky and beat them by 20. Kentucky's undefeated at home this year. That has got to play into it. And also, the rest of the home games this year are sold out, so good luck finding a ticket.
Right, and here's the other thing about that. Alabama comes in with 5 wins over top 25 teams. Kentucky now has, 5 wins over
Gonzaga,
top
Duke,
15 teams?
Mississippi
State. It's either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then this is the first time ever that they've hosted 3 straight top 15 teams.
This is the first time also in the Rupp Arena era Alabama comes into Lexington ranked this high.
Right.
They were ranked 8th or 9th back in 87, I think. But you go back to 1975, the last time they were ranked as high as, they're ranked 4th now, they were ranked 7th. Almost 50 years ago, they were ranked 7th. So,
and those would have been some of those Alabama teams with Wimp Sanderson and Bobby Joe Hurt. Was it Bobby Joe Hurt? It was those guys, B.J. Mackey and those guys played. I mean, they were really
the 87 squad.
Mark Gottfried played on some of those
squads.
He
sure did. Number 22, I think. 21 or 22. With the great perm at the free throw line. It was, the 80s white guy perm. It was pretty solid. Some people we knew kept it for decades. And come on, it's the truth. Wow. But UK and Alabama tomorrow. It's a noon start. UK. I spoke to my dad earlier today, and he goes, "Hey, what time's that game tomorrow?" I said noon. He goes, "Gosh, another early start." For the media, we love it because we get our day finished earlier, but UK is going to make up for it with some 9 o'clock.
But I mean, that should be a poll question one day. What's the perfect start? Because then you hear, not another 9:30 start, and there have been very few of those this year.
Well, the UK-Arkansas game is going to be of the late variety. You talk about saving, at least from a storyline, the best for last. Oh my gosh. When Calipari rolls in here, it's going to be like Rick Pitino coming back in 2000, in that 2001 season, December of 2000, when that place blew the lid off.
But as I remember, I mean, Pitino and them weren't bad.
They weren't
great, but they
weren't great. I mean, he was still trying to, it was the first year of the post-Denny Crum era, and Denny's last couple of years were kind of tough at Louisville.
That's right.
And
but this is the first time in Cal's tenure that he's ever started off 0-4 in league play, right?
They are dead last in the SEC. And
They were picked, what, third, fourth, something like that?
Sure,
and Kentucky was picked 8th.
And Cal used to call it the Kentucky effect. I think it's the Calipari effect because he brings in DJ Wagner and brings in Boogie Fland and brings in Big Z and the guys that
who, by the way, has disappeared.
He played 7 minutes the other night. He was 0 of 2 from the floor.
Yeah. He's a non-factor.
I think 1 rebound.
Non-factor.
He's not been able to wrap up in a complete game what he did in those first 5 minutes against Georgia last year when he came in, had the behind the back pass, hit the three, had the dunk, whatever it was.
And again, I'm not saying this. Great kid. We always had a lot of fun with him and everything. But I mean,
awesome individual.
Almost a whole season tied up.
Yeah.
And nobody came out and said this, but the inference was clear. Oh, if we have this guy back.
Yeah.
Nah.
Kentucky has done so well, 14-3, 3-1 in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
They've done so well with a bunch of stray cats when you think about it. You're going to get this guy from California. You're going to get this guy from Utah. We're going to get this guy from here and this guy from here. And everybody talks about
Have you done this yet?
What?
Get on the internet. Fabulous Five.
Oh, yeah.
Fiddlin' Five.
This has got to be the stray cats.
Untouchables. You gotta register it.
Oh, wow, okay. I'm sorry.
You gotta register it.
Well, if you remember,
I like that.
who was it?
Or the Alley Cats.
It was the Comeback Cats of '98.
That's right.
And I believe this is right. Some lady, bless her heart, called into the station here and said, I was the first person to come up with that. What, don't I get some residual effect, some payment, some back pay? It's like, well, how do you know you came up with it? But I was the first. So here on the internet, the Stray Cats. I don't know if anyone's used it. The Stray Cats, if they win, and they're going to rock this town, rock it inside out, and they've done that. See?
Wow.
Come on, man. We got
Stray Cat Strut.
That would be, see, that's it. The Stray Cat Strut.
Right.
You heard it here first, maybe. I don't know.
And if a game, as a coach used to call it, a rock fight ensued, then you could call them the Alley Cats.
That's right.
For a night, right?
That's right. And if there is a Stray Cat Strut and somebody comes out with the Jackie Fargo, Jeff Jarrett. See, yeah, somebody's playing some Stray Cats up there. Or is that Beto's? Yeah.
Oh, they did find it.
That's good. See, that would be good for this team, I think, because when you figure out you take...
I want to say at some point in time, somebody used that and did a song. They did one of those parody songs.
Yeah.
We got cat class and we got cat style.
That would be a pretty cool video for anyone at UK who's watching. You
Greg
take
Gorham.
that song, Punk, if you're watching, I think it's an awesome move. I will say this.
Yes, say this.
Not to take credit, because I'm not that guy. But...
You did come up with Stray Cats.
Well, I did come up with...
Here on the internet.
When Benny Snell was here, I did put on our graphics, Benny and the Cats. The next week, I promise you, they're playing Elton John from 1974, Benny and the Jets. And I went,
Hold these
hey,
cats.
it's UK calling right now.
No, it's not.
Know? But I thought, that was pretty cool. Maybe they're watching a little bit.
I did one of those too back in the day.
Did you?
Cut the deuce loose.
Well,
cut the deuce loose.
Just let it rip, kid. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. So UK and Alabama tomorrow at noon.
Then Kentucky gets kind of a break to heal up.
Yeah,
They've got the
they get a
midweek
week.
break, which is really kind of important. Believe it or not, this is what, the 15th or 16th game?
This will be number 18.
18.
14-3.
Wow, how about that?
And then play.
So we're
at
officially
Vandy.
past the midway point?
Yeah, and then at Vandy next Saturday, and then 3 days later at Tennessee. So they get the
Tennessee two-step.
trip. Yeah, the Tennessee two-step. And so they'll go to Nashville and Knoxville starting next Saturday, and then the following Tuesday. And then business starts to pick up a little bit when Calipari and company comes a-calling in February. Want to mention this. I am a YouTubeaholic. I am guilty as charged, an addict of YouTube. And yesterday with Bob Uecker's passing.
Oh, my gosh.
It's impossible not to play Major League one-liners. The times he was on Johnny Carson, just Major League Baseball people talking about Bob Uecker. I don't know if you talk about the perfect person who could have come here if he was invited to the Children's Charity Golf Classic. He would have stolen the show years ago.
Yeah, and he's also the kind of guy that would have come had it not been smack in the middle of baseball season.
Yeah.
So,
but Bob Uecker, one of the true beauties of improv comedy and things in between.
It's crazy.
And you may have heard this yesterday or in past. Uecker did a ball game with Howard Cosell and Al Michaels, the ABC Game of the Week, decades ago. And Cosell always liked to use vocabulary that made him sound better than maybe what he was.
Yes.
He was a lawyer, and so he had a great vocabulary. That too. I had to look that one up too.
Thank you.
And he always used the word, well, he's very truculent.
Oh, he did use that.
He used it on Muhammad Ali, and Ali said, well, if that's good, I'm it. And he used it on Uecker, and he goes, you probably don't even know what that means. And he said, yeah, if you had a trunk, you let me borrow it, it's a truculent. And Al Michaels, the guy who is the pro of pros, just cracked. Like, what kind of guy comes up with that one-liner?
That's a great parallel, because I'd have to check Facebook, but it was either today or yesterday that Amanda Brenneman, Marty's wife, posted a story on Facebook. John Kieswater, the longtime media writer in Cincinnati, it was either yesterday or today, that was the 50th anniversary of Marty getting hired as the Reds play-by-play guy. Yeah. And of course, he got hired after Al Michaels, after 3 years, went and took the San Francisco Giants job before going to ABC Sports.
How about that?
But I saw Michaels on one of those shows last night that was pre-recorded, and those guys genuinely loved him.
Yeah.
They showed his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, which was like 18 minutes.
No notes.
And all did not have a note. And all of the Hall of Famers sitting behind him were like, keep going, keep going.
But he was, he
said he was still sore that he didn't get in as a player.
Yeah. 200 average, had 14 career home runs. But what you did not know, more than likely, he played in Louisville in 1960 and 1961, 156 games, I believe.
No kidding.
And hit 14 home runs in 1961 alone, hit 309, 14 homers. My dad got to see him play. He said, I got to go to the Colonels. And then, obviously, backup catcher. No one really remembered Uecker except the people on the roster, in the locker room, the clubhouse, and then later on in life when he became one of the most perfect broadcasters for a Midwestern city.
Native of Milwaukee, grew up there, was there his whole life, never wanted to leave or anything, despite all the other things he got. And a lot of people don't remember he was Mr. Belvedere. He was on Mr. Belvedere.
He was on Mr. Belvedere.
And I mean, it's crazy all the stuff that he did. But he said baseball was always the thing that brought him back.
Yeah, and it is. And only in baseball, you don't get this in football, except John Madden. Madden was boom, right. He was great. He was one of the few personalities.
Rode the bus.
One of the few personalities of football. In basketball, you really don't have a lot of personalities like that. But in baseball,
you had Valvano and Al McGuire.
Yeah,
don't have any today.
Had them, but they were former coaches.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But Uecker, and in baseball, you had Harry Carey.
Oh yeah.
You had Bob Uecker, these Dizzy Dean decades earlier, and guys who were just really outlandish in their own style. Vin Scully, who was so buttoned up and perfect, a 2-2 count, and so elegant. And then Uecker's just dropping one-liners.
In terms of television advertising, I mean, there are many iconic ads, but that whole series with the Miller Lite All-Stars, where they played against each other, and they showed one of the commercials of you going to the neighborhood bar where supposedly everybody loved him, and they locked him out. And he said, "This is just a running joke."
But he was great, and If you never heard Euchre,
You know what the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo.
Must be in the front row.
Bob Euchre was a jewel.
I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
He missed the time.
That must be in the front row. And they send him to the upper deck.
And did you know that there's now a statue?
There's 2 of them.
Well, there's one outside the stadium, but like in the next to last row in the upper deck, there's a statue of Euchre sitting there with his legs crossed.
Yeah, and you
so
can take a picture.
Come up and take pictures.
And that's just
Unbelievable.
a great man. And he was 90 years old, and the sports world has lost one of its last true personalities, unique personalities in the game of baseball. We're going to get out of here and go finish off.
Hey.
What?
You know,
everybody.
Some roads got cleared, and so there's going to be some Friday night game time tonight.
Yeah, we actually have game time for the first time in several weeks.
2025.
And we've got highlights coming from Owensboro at the 2A state tournament. Next week is the Class A state tournament, which hopefully will come back to Richmond next year now that Alumni Coliseum has been refurbished, Baptist Health
Did you
Arena.
say we've got highlight? Oh, you said highlights.
Yes, we're going to have highlight. We're going to go to Miami real quick.
It's amazing how those guys run up on the walls.
Yeah, just a bit outside. Tried the wall and missed. But we're going to have highlights from out west. We obviously will have highlights from Central Kentucky. And I get to see one of my favorite people in all the world tonight, one Dickie Martin, the voice of the Ashland Tomcats. They come to Central Kentucky. We're going to get out of here. Hope you have a great day. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the UK-Alabama game tomorrow.